What a treat we have for you here at the Lexus US Open of Surfing presented by Pacifico. I'm Joe Turpel with Mitchell Salazar and Matt Chinaski. We might be more formal in this one, Matt, because Mitchell likes that, and it's a heritage sheet, so let's make it more official. We've got a crazy list of surfers representing California that made a serious impact on the sport, and this is a treat. Just nothing to prove, and just a celebration of pro surfing right now.
Yeah, 100%. We got not only the who's who, but somebody who I feel has always been kind of underrepresented when it comes to the area. Jeff Deffenbaugh is getting his flowers right here, ladies and gentlemen, going up against Archie, Tom Curren. Man, this is one of the most fun heats I'm going to have to call in my entire life, Joe.
And I like that call. I mean, for Jeff, he's always been around, and a true local to the Huntington Pier. I mean, he was a pier rat with his brother Barry at a young age, just picking up scraps and then both turning into competitive powerhouses, Wax said. Oh, sorry, Matt. Yep.
This is an absolute highlight of my surf industry career right now. Unbelievable, and a shout out to the guys that aren't in this and women as well, because it's one of the biggest, longest lists in surfing history. But focusing on these 5 surfers, I mean, I'm so amped. This is exciting.
Here we go. Do we have a wave? Is that Shane?
Mm-hmm.
Shane Beschen. This guy is amazing. He still surfs so much. He moved over to the North Shore a very long time ago. I think everyone sees his son now rip in premiere movies across the street, Noah Beschen. So Noah raised on the island of Oahu. Beschen growing up in San Clemente, but really made some of his best friends from the Hawaiian region when he was competing. From Mike and Derek Ho, the list goes on, and he's just a staple and an absolute legend when you paddle out at Rocky Point. Always says hi, and he's always getting really barreled still today.
Yeah, and I mean, still an amazing surfer at pipe and backdoor too. There's a lot of days when the waves are good out there. He's hooting you off of waves because he knows that he has priority out there, Joe. And I would have to say also one of the most accomplished surfers coming out of the 90s too. Had the legendary final right here with Kelly Slater and did a lot for pro surfing in Southern California.
Very vocal on really pushing the judges and the criteria to really reward progressive surfing. And one guy that was famous for pushing the aerial movement, Matt Archbold, Wax said.
Yeah, just coming unstuck there in his first wave, but he was eyeing off those pier bowl rights, watching brother surf. He grew up surfing alongside, you can see the smile from ear to ear, grew up surfing alongside Kolohe's father, and down there in San Clemente. And you have to say these guys pushing each other in that era, it was all an Australian affair throughout the 70s. It was the Hawaiians pre-60s, the Californians ruled supreme throughout the 60s, but in the 70s it was the Australians, and clawing back with the likes of, say, Ian Cairns and the powerhouse of Peter Townend, really engaging Californian surf culture and teaching them what the Aussies had. And it was actually the board rider style culture that reigned supreme in Australia that really a lot of these Californians didn't have in the 70s. And in the 80s it came back with a vengeance, and through the school surfing obviously with Ian and PT introducing that training and that camaraderie.
How cool is Jeff Deffenbaugh? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Shredding.
He still rips.
That's like standard procedure, right? I mean,
he just turned 50 too. You know, all these guys are right there, late 40s and their 50s already, and you know, to be able to see these guys, Archie smile, as Matt was pointing out, like, this is so rad, dude.
Back to Jeff's wave, Mitch.
Yeah, the one carve right here, and then look at how fast he's able to throw it up into the lip right there. As Wax was saying, though, looking at Archie's wave right here, comes unglued on the second one, but still solid attempt right there by Matt. You know, the influence of Australian culture into U.S. culture right now with the board riders has been a huge thing right now for Southern California, and especially for San Clemente. Both Shane Beschen and Archie actually had the chance to compete at the U.S. Board Riders National Championship at Lowers just a few months ago.
I love it. Wow, we just came off a huge heat, a big rivalry. Jackson Bunch getting the win. He's hanging out with AJ.
Thanks so much, Joey Jackson. A massive moment for you. You've locked in your spot in the quarterfinals for the 2nd straight Challenger Series event. Take us inside that heat. What was your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, just wanted to get that starting position, be deepest, and I mean, I didn't think it was going to go as slow as it did, and lucky thing I got that 7 right off the bat, and I was able to sit there kind of with not too much nerves, knowing that I needed a somewhat small score.
So when a heat happens like that, where your strategy just sort of comes into play perfectly, how much confidence does that give you in the way you're preparing for these contests?
Yeah, it's really nice when we can make a plan and everything goes right. I mean, yesterday I tried to make a plan and it kind of went backwards, so I had to like recoup and switch up the plan and go to plan B, and made that yesterday's grindy heat. So knowing today was going to be a cleaner heat midday, I was just happy to surf some nice waves.
Well, and I know we're entering the back half of the 2024 Challenger Series, so everyone's eyes are on that ranking. How are you keeping an eye on your spot and navigating, just balancing it all?
Yeah, I mean, just try not to think about it too much. My good friend Shaun we're staying with, I didn't know that I was so high, and then he yelled at me yesterday, "Bro, you're ninth." Like, I was like, oh, okay, like, try not to think about it. Let's surf, make the heats, and I mean, hopefully go as far as I can go.
Well, and I know before we let you go, you want to give a special shout out to home.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone at home for all your support, and a big shout out to Lahaina, everyone from Lahaina. It's been almost a year since the fires, and yeah, it's just a hard time being 1 year, and yeah, I just want to thank everyone at home for their support. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jackson. Sending our best to Lahaina as well, Joey.
Definitely, our hearts are with you. Great message there from Jackson. Sending it back home to Maui. As we see this heritage heat still underway, and a nice cool roll in from Archie, driving through that section. That's that classic front arm from Archie when he hits the lip. And now Shane Beschen going past his good buddy and just cruising, enjoying the ride. Shane's been coaching with a lot of the world's best, helping them with airs specifically. Like athletes like Carissa Moore, doing a bit of an air camp.
Just looking at that board, I was wondering whose tiny board that was in the racks. It's about, honestly, it's about 5'4". It's Shane Beschen's. It looked like a Groms board there. And that's actually something else to note as well. Typically, Archie riding really under volume, small board. Well, obviously these guys all grew up riding hand-shaped surfboards before machines and volume was a thing. But they're also a part of the real flipped 90s era too, in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah, Mike Parsons feeling the flow. What a legend of the sport, longtime competitor on tour, went into a very successful big wave tour where he became commissioner. He also rode a wave that was in the Guinness Book of World Records at 77 feet, toe partners with Brad Gerlach. He's basically done everything in the industry, but also competitively in the sport of surfing. Once again, this is the Heritage Heat, a celebration of legends who made a huge impact and a difference in pro surfing. Tom Curren, Shane Beschen, Matt Archbold, Mike Parsons, and Jeff Deffenbaugh.
And going back to Snips, was what you were mentioning, he never kind of fit the typical 80s kind of punk kid style from Southern California. A lot of people wanted him to be that person, but when he won PSAA back in 1991, he beat Shane Beschen, he beat Taylor Knox, he beat a lot of those who's who, and I felt like he was one of those guys that kind of set the standard for what athletics is in surfing nowadays, Joe. And look at him right now, one of the best coaches in the world. That he's had multiple roles within the industry.
Yeah, he's like the forever Grom too. You know, he's going to be 60 soon, and he just surfs every single day.
Ah.
Classic Beschen fade.
Wonder if we'll get to see a little air on the inside as well.
Maybe.
Most likely.
Snips.
Snips getting the flow going. He's round aboard from Biolos. Said he loves the way it feels. He's been scoring lowers last couple days. He's actually coming off a sore back. When we were together calling the Olympics, he was like, oh man, I just couldn't help myself. I surfed all day. And so he actually needed some downtime. He was just like gromming out at lowers, kind of during that like 4th of July swell we had around here.
Ooh, TC. Look at this. Paddling into it. How's the style off the bottom too, dude? That just never goes, like, it never fades away is the thing.
Let's get into that after this wave, Mitch. So, I mean, that style right there, that is textbook modern day surf style that, I mean, Tom Curren, his father Pat Curren, 3-time world champion, there's a lineage of regular foot style. It did start in Hawaii, but when we cast our eyes to the 50s and 60s, you kick off with guys like, we'll get into that in a moment, and another guy who disregards style for power hacks, Matt Archbold. I mean, he's got style on land and in the water as well. Think of his shoebox Ford. He's chopped Ford custom in that black with the shades, crossing over from punk and rockabilly culture into surfing.
What's the tattoo say on the back of his neck?
I don't know.
Built for speed.
Built for speed. That's it. Yes.
And there's Jeff getting honored as a local across the street in the Walk of Fame. He's on a really fun Timmy Patterson surfboard model called the Gas Pedal. He said he loves it. And Archie's been giving back as well. He just got back from a 3-week tour on the East Coast with Anthony Rufo and Hans Hagen for the Malleola Foundation.
It's rad.
And here we go, Mike Parsons.
Yeah, snips right here. Little combo going. Doesn't seem like that back is very sore right now, Joe. Looking loose out there right now.
You know what Mike's done so well is just continuing the dream of like the culture of surfing and the pure stoke of finding waves. I mean, he got his pilot's license so he could fly on his own and go surf by himself down the coast of Mexico or wherever he wanted to surf, you know, and he'd be competing and working on points, but then he never lost the dream of going away and scoring perfect waves with nobody around, no cameras, no lenses, and he still has that desire to catch the next best wave of his life as we send it to Kaipo.
Hey, yep, I'm here in the Bonsoy athlete area. I like to call it the Bonsoy surfer area because we're surfers, and I'm here with a surfer and a shaper, Matt Biolos. Matt, like, look at, you're already winning the Vissla CT Shaper rankings by far, and now you have like 2 of the old guys there on your boards out here.
Old guys rule, right? They all love the little right-hand rip ball. There's no left backside airs attempts for these guys.
So who's on your boards right now?
Shane Beschen is riding a little quad fin we made him. He's addicted to these little quads. And then Mike Parsons he's riding like the same board that Koloe or Griffin would ride, like full 510 comped out modern shortboard, but he's pushing 60 and still ripping on him.
Your advice equipment-wise to heritage surfers, as you mature in surfing, coming from you, the shaper, what's the best bet to keep out there and keep getting waves and keep performing?
Well, these guys, I mean, they're elite. They were the best of the best in their time, and they all still surf a lot. So they're fit, and they can ride. They're riding the same boards pretty much as guys half their age. You know, most of us just have to be realistic with our abilities and our body and the waves we're surfing, and maybe adjust our boards a bit to keep the fun going.
Thanks for talking with us. Matt, we got some action right now. You guys take it away.
Right
There's Snips right there.
Oh, no, that's Beschen.
Oh, Beschen. Oh, ooh, he caught his rail, though. Archie. That was a Patterson. How'd it look?
Wow, I got nothing on Patterson. He's our lord.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Good catching up with you. I'll let it go back to the show and stuff. Matt Biolos. Oh, wait. One more thing.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Vissla CT Shaper rankings. Are you feeling like a 2-time world champ yet?
Are you putting it in the fridge?
I'm kind of putting it in the fridge, bro.
Well, we have a great team, and they all got out there and did their job, and they make us look good as their board builders. So yeah, back to back. Why not?
All right. Well, too early to congratulate you, but you're looking really good in that. And thanks for all your contributions. Back to you, Joe.
Hey, Kaipo, before we let you go,
oh, yeah.
I think the big question was what Tom Curren would ride today. Did you get a look at his board?
I did get a look at Tom Curren's board, and it's really interesting in that he's riding a used board from Joao Chianca. So you would think Tom Curren would just get like a new board and everything. But yeah, an old board, a trade-in from Joao Chianca with some S-wing fins too. And the conversation on the fins was a long one. There was a lot of equations going on with these S-wing fins, but Curren's definitely, you know, unique, but one of our legends in the sport, 3-time winner out here.
Thanks so much, Kaipo. Wow, that was fun. Matt Biolos is having a blast in the big comp for the Challenger Series and in the Heritage Heat as well. Testing out this quad again is Shane Beschen. Just has that classic style. You could pick out Shane in the dark, where he holds his arms, and how he locks in. Definitely one of those guys that had really great relationships with the Irons brothers, everyone in San Clemente, a really highly respected surfer when he was competing, and still to this day.
Yeah, and I would even argue, you mentioned Carissa, him being a longtime coach of her. I don't think Kolohe Andino would have the kind of success that he's had nowadays without the support of Shane Beschen either. And talking about the board, it's a quad. Looking at TC right here, but 5'5", 19 1/4 redux. He was a big part of that film, Shano. And looking at Tommy right here, man, he's been looking good in this heat so far.
Absolutely, look at that. See how low he is, just the hand on the bottom turn, always in the water. And Archie behind him, just look at some clean face here. Yeah, that one, just a little two-stager. That's very classic for the late 80s, early 90s. We saw a lot of the cutbacks broken up into stages. They had to surf waves like this quite often. That's a nice wave. Look at the combo on the inside of the rip bowl. He kicks out. He felt that one too with a little kick out. Kickouts used to give you a couple extra half a point there, Joe.
Jeff getting honored across the street in the Walk of Fame, being a local hero, and then Archie, man, that would go so fast. There was a session at T Street that was talked about for a long time of when Martin Potter came to town. It had a huge impact on Archie, Christian Fletcher, Dino Andino, and they all were like, okay, we've got to do airs. And Archie just changed everything, started doing giant airs, was just on his way to what could have been a world title. He kind of created his own path with his surfing career. And Snip's getting another one.
Yeah, Mike right here. Combo on the outside. As Biolos was pointing out, riding more of a shortboard centered board right here in this Heritage Heat. Had a couple of good ones so far, Joe, on the outside.
And Tom Curren whacks in.
Yeah, just carving this one around. Beautiful style. You see the Rip Curl Search stickers on his board too. Some exciting projects, I've been told, are in the works there with TC.
Ooh, don't get me excited.
Shane Beschen again. US Open champion.
It's like that grunt every time he pulls that board around, Joe. You can just feel it.
When Kolohe had the yellow jersey, we were digging deep to look back to see the last Californian to hold world #1. Started finding that that year that Shane was having the rivalry with Kelly, where he was #1 in the world for a moment in that season. As we'll send it back to Kaipo.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I'm here with none other than the rider of the Surfer's Coat, 77 world champ, Shaun Tomson. Talk about heritage, talk about legends right here. Shaun, you know a lot. You saw the beginning stages, how this whole US Open started.
Yes, sir. I surfed in the first US Open in 1982, and I was in the semifinals against Mark Richards. And I think we were like ranked 1 and 2 then. And there was about 50,000 people on the beach, and we paddled out under the pier, and then we paddled out towards the break. And as we paddled out from beneath the pier, the whole crowd started screaming. Half of them wanted Mark to win, half of them wanted me to win. But just to be in that stadium atmosphere for the first time was mind-blowing.
Yeah, pre-internet, you had to come down here on your own, and that's when this house was packed. Shaun, we got Tom Curren out there. I remember a couple of changing of the guard heats with you and Tom out here, I think on the Caton on that side of the pier, and the US Open on this side of the pier.
Yeah, Tom beat me quite a few times. I kicked his ass as well. But we had some great heats. I surfed in Tom's first pro event on the north side, the Caton Pro that I won. Then he beat me a couple of times out here during the US Open. So it's wonderful to see him out there, 3-time world champ, still stoked and still getting out there in the water.
It's wonderful to see you, Shaun. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kaipo.
All time. Thanks, guys. Shaun Tomson. What a legend. Winning a big world title in 77. PT won in 76. That crew busted down the door and had the dream of creating this lifestyle called pro surfing, which everyone's enjoying today. And I love that he's got a front row seat for this one. Still 14 minutes to enjoy. All these guys absolutely rip out there. For Jeff, being the local of Huntington, he accomplished a lot. And I guess, you know, kind of an underdog compared to the profiles of the guys he's with, but he deserves everything coming his way, especially a piece of the cement across the street in the Walk of Fame. Had a big USA Junior title, was on the NSSA All-Star team, which included guys like Kelly Slater and Taylor Knox. Super talent and still ripping into his 50s representing California.
Well, and I think it goes to show you how many great surfers there's been right here in both HB and Northern Orange County. Same thing with, you know, the South Bay of LA, but Lamas being one of them. Chad Wells is actually one of our beach announcers today from Seal Beach. Like, there's just so much heritage, as you've been mentioning, Joe, but I think an important aspect to really bring up about Jeff, he was so inspirational to a lot of the young figures like Sean Ward, Timmy Reyes, and of course, two-time Open champion Brett Simpson. Those guys wouldn't have had a career if it weren't for Jeff Deffenbaugh.
Definitely, it's such a cool impact. Looks like Jeff wants this one. And ends up holding his position.
It's characters like that that really make Surf City here at Huntington what it is as well. You know, it's that that close-knit. The board riders just adds to that effect, but
yes,
it just feels like, you know, there's so much to see, there's so much going on. It's wild. You'll meet a new person every time you walk out in the pier or in the or downtown, but to have those characters, and I love it. It's one of the few places in the world, Huntington, where you got the tallest coffees, and then they get replaced for tall beers later on, and the stories just get bigger. And it's every year you get into these conversations with these people, and it's such an eclectic beach town, and I think it's so relatable to, you know, West Coast California.
As we'll check in with Kaipo again.
Hey, I found Nate Yeomans over here, and Nate just rolling up here, watching some of the surf. Who do you think's winning? It's not judged, but who do you think's winning?
I saw Archie, right? Archie just. The rad part about him is the guy's always surfing. I surf like these inside shore breaks with him at home, and he's so fired up to surf. But I saw Archie get a good ride. I mean, Beschen, Snips, Curren. Am I missing anyone?
And Jeff Deffenbaugh's out there.
Oh, the local boy. I was telling you though, where's the goofy foot?
Exactly, that's
What's
a good
going on
question.
here?
Where's the goofy foot, Joe?
Two goofies right there, Kaipo and Yeomans.
It's a great point, though.
Oh, and another goofy
It is a
chiming
great
in. Hey,
point.
hey.
I have a bone to pick with somebody.
Where are the goofy foots? They've got a union.
I'm part of it, I know.
Maybe next time we could do an all goofy foot legend seed.
Hey, I'm for it. I think we could find a good amount of goofy footers to go out there and do it too. You know, Joe, what's so, you know, amazing about having Yeomans, Biolos, Shaun Tomson in the Bonsoy athlete area goes to show you that they're still supporting these guys, and they felt supported by them too. You guys mentioned the board riders multiple times. It's brought the community together. Look at what it's doing on Kauai. Sebastian Zietz right now, he's brought the community together over there at North Shore Board Riders. They've already been involved in the national championships. It's taken things to new levels, and I have to give props to the three guys from Southern Orange County. Snips, Archie, and Shane Beschen. They have all been involved with their local board riders community. Same thing with Jeff Deffenbaugh with HB.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, Snips has some decisions to make. You know, he grew up in Laguna Beach, went to Laguna Beach High School, so Jeff Booth's always like, Mike, let's do this. You know, let's compete. And he's obviously been in San Clemente for a long time, but he loves to reflect back on those Laguna Beach memories. Mike's dad getting him down to San Onofre to compete in his first event when he was about 8 years of age. And Mike was really good at volleyball as well. He won like a junior volleyball national title on a team he was on. But he was like, you know what, surfing was always going to be where I was going, you know. He said coaches would be like, come on, let's do this. And he's like, there's no way I'm going to miss good waves. And just has dedicated his life since day one. And now he's almost 60, and he's still planning surf trips. So right after this, he's like, I'm trying to get somewhere. He's just looking at forecasts, and great forecaster as well, by the way. If you end up in the water and Snips is out, you're like,
you've got the spot.
Must be in the right spot.
Well, you know, TC was up at Morro Bay at the Board Riders event that they had the end of last year for Santa Barbara Board Riders. He stayed on to watch the QS 1000 as well. He had to play at a, you know, obviously an accomplished guitarist too. He tours playing his music. He was up there for the Surfing for Hope non-for-profit up there, and then he was playing a live charity gig, and he was there to watch the QS, and he was amazed. It was so complimentary on stage with all the surfing he was watching, and I think he watched most of the heats throughout that week. So you think these elusive characters, I think of guys like George Greeno for one, Jerry Lopez. You think they might be taking a back seat, but they read the magazines, they tune in, they're connected. They're probably watching right now.
Oh, for sure. 8:30 to go in this Heritage Heat. We are going to take a quick break, but more of this tribute to professional surfing right after this. We are absolutely enjoying every second of this Heritage Heat. What a crew representing California. All made massive contributions to pro surfing. And we've got everyone having a go here. Going left into the pier, 3-time world champ Tom Curren. Enjoying the left, enjoying some fun equipment with some S-wing fins. Riding a used board. One of Chianca's models for this performance, and now the local hero having fun towards the pier.
Yeah, riding the Timmy Patterson too, as you were mentioning, Joe. Strong combo right there by Diva. Just as good on the backhand as he is on the forehand. And you mentioned his brother Barry also being an amazing surfer, very talented too. And then Snips right here had a good little one too, Maddie. And we've seen Mike have a couple of these combinations on the outside.
Yeah, with a sore back as well. He hasn't fallen off, just linking his way through, very solid on his feet, which of course when these guys were competing, they were coming out of the era where it was, and it was still continued through the 90s, where it was turns per point. So, or points per turn, I should say. There's Curren into the pier. And as I look behind in the break, I actually saw both Curren and Archie and Shane get some incredible rides. So we might have a replay of that. We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, what an amazing crew of surfers right here.
Remember Archie being in Point Break?
Oh, yeah.
When he had hair?
And Dino, right?
Dino was in there too?
Was right next to him, yeah. That was classic.
Johnny Utah.
Yeah,
Give
for
me
sure.
two.
Yeah, Archie was just always going fast. Always loved seeing what kind of cars he was driving. Just, I mean, think about opening Archie's garage and see what he'd have in there, from surfboards to different types of cars that he was into. Ended up getting full sleeves of tattoos all over his neck. I mean, he really stood out through that era from the 80s into the 90s. And then he also moved to Hawaii for a bit, was riding off the wall and was getting crazy closeouts that nobody else wanted. Here's Archie again.
Ah,
that was that one. Oh my gosh, that was, I mean, that's trademark Archie. I actually said it with someone during the week. They did exactly that same turn. I thought there was some Archie in that thing.
Gosh, he absolutely rips.
that guy's over 50, dude.
That's
okay?
amazing. Goals right there.
But I think it's so important as surfers. I know it's great to bring athletics into it, to be true to yourself and bring in your own personality, as you've been saying, Joe. Tattoos, all that, that was the kind of generation that took the next step into getting more mainstream, and it was because of Matt Archbold, Martin Potter, obviously Dino Andino was a big part of it too, but like there was such a big jump from the 70s crew all the way into the 80s right there.
Yeah, it was that identity, the creativity, a lot of these surfers. And just remember, the guys like Curren and the surfers that came before them, guys like Shaun Tomson, PT, these guys had those surfers on their wall as posters. You have a look at Jeff here. Oh, no, Shane, sorry, leaning into that turn. That's some trademark Beschen carving there, and he works his way through. Very sure-footed, back on the heels there. 3-turn combo. Might have something on the inside as well. Huntington hop, almost hanging 5 on that one. That's a tiny board. I think, yeah, we said it was like 5.5, maybe 5.4, little quad fin.
Leg burners.
All the way to the beach, dry docking it. How cool is that? I mean, we talk about the rivalry with Shane and Kelly every time we're at the U.S. Open, because that was a big turning point in the title race. But the rivalry started in the Open Boys National Final, under 12s. Kelly, Shane in the final. Kelly won. People on the beach thought Shane won. It was another close decision. How are those swoops, though?
Pretty sick. Little extra torque right there at the end of them, too. Yeah. I mean, you went way back right there, U12s. That's like 40-plus years ago.
That's where it starts, right?
I mean, I see a bit of Curren in the bottom turn of Shane, of course, as well. And I was saying before, these guys had, each generation influences the next, and it went right down from the 60s to the modern day. And these guys, like they rewrote the book for Californian professional surfing. Intuition, their creativity, their identity to surfing, and they were the poster boys for a reason. And you can't forget also surfers like Brad Gerlach as well, whose career extended a little bit longer than some of these guys as well. But
Rob Machado.
Yeah.
I think Ger's moving back to California. So he'll be probably
actually
teaming up with Snips and chasing some waves again.
right here in HB. Yeah.
So cool. And he's working a little bit with Mike's son, Grant. Grant Parsons actually won the first WSA event of the year. So Grant's getting on a roll. Mike's really enjoying his son's success. Forward Archbold having a good run, being a sponsored pro. Spending a lot of time in Newport, but having some good travels. Tom's kids all rip as well, all passing it down to the next generation. Here's Curren.
Ooh. Swooping carve right there, Joe, all the way back. That borrowed board from Joao. He's so unique and like peculiar in a getaway, you know? Like, I mean, look at that.
Thank
Unreal.
you. Thank you, Tom.
It just makes you like be even more attracted to the sense of how unique he is, you know?
Yeah,
and
we wanted a show, and he's like, well, I'm performing for you.
He was the guy that just everyone loved because he was the comp guy, you know, but always in that surfing conversation of the art and the sport and the culture and then the competitive game, everybody loved him. There was, you know, either side, people that didn't want to talk about contests, they loved him. People that wanted to see him win titles loved him. He'd show up at Haleiwa and not have stickers on his board, and when he's supposed to do that as a professional. Here's Mike Parsons again.
77 feet. That wave you mentioned, Joe, at Cortez Bank. Done a lot for the surfing industry outside of just surfing professionally, and definitely a person that's made the tour what it is nowadays, especially on the big wave side.
Wow, that was the coolest thing ever. Congratulations to everyone that went behind the scenes to put this on. A tribute to all of these legends and a gift to all of us to see them out in the water together.
Look at the fins you can see there in that board as well. S-wings.
Absolute magic. I could watch that all day. What a cool moment. Shane Beschen showing us that style. Everyone still ripping. You never leave the ocean. Always a part of them. Big thank you to Matt Archbold for laying down his signature hammer, and to all the participants in the Heritage Sheet. Back to the round of 16 for the women right after this.